Okay, so I know that another paint stripping episode is not what anybody wanted to see, including myself, but this is the reality of our restoration process, is that if you are trying to get down to bare metal, or you're trying to do a certain level of restoration, this is the reality, is that you're going to spend a lot of time stripping metal. Unless you're lucky enough that you can go and do like a chemical dip, or maybe you're going to do sandblasting. I encourage you guys to do your homework on those things and decide what's best for you. The way I'm doing it here was best for me, and if I did have the cash for a chemical dip, I'd actually go to that first. But this was just what was in my wheelhouse of ability and kind of budget. And so paint stripping, I spent a lot of time doing it, and that's the reality. And so I'm kind of committed to showing it all. So instead of talking about paint stripping though, it might be useful for me to just talk about what I was planning on doing here. Now, I'm stripping to bare metal, for two reasons, mostly because I want to expose any rust that needs to be repaired. And second is I want to start in the very best place to try and protect against future rust. And so when we're thinking about paint, bodywork, that sort of stuff, I think there is a good, better, best process. I think probably what I'm doing is somewhere above what an average sort of DIY garage job will be doing, and much below what a professional will be doing. I'm somewhere in the middle, because I'll be doing more than what just a garage builder, similar to maybe, what someone's just doing on the weekend sort of thing. I'll be doing a little bit more than that, because I am striving to do something that is quality and that is going to last longer. Not that those guys can't do that, but I think I'm probably doing a little bit more than that, but not as much as a professional. So I'm stripping to bare metal so that I can start out by putting the whole thing in epoxy primer. And I know that there are different schools of thought, different camps. Some say do your body work, so all your body filler work on bare metal, and then others will say do your body work on epoxy. Now I'm in the camp of doing epoxy first, and then your body work. So epoxy primer is a non-porous paint, and that's an important thing to consider. When you have your bare metal, you want to create a barrier between your bare metal and any moisture. An epoxy primer being a non-porous paint, that means it does not let anything pass through it. Other paints may be a porous material and it will allow moisture in. You don't want that. And so this is just my opinion, and I've talked to other painters and bodywork guys, and mostly this was the feedback that they were giving me as well, is that yes, you want that epoxy right on your bare metal because that is your best barrier. Now, some people will put their body filler right onto bare metal, and I believe a lot of the products do allow that, but that filler is porous and it can hold moisture. And I think that's risky, for putting that onto your bare metal. I think, and lots will agree, that you build up from your epoxy layer. So epoxy primer on bare metal, and then you build everything up from there. So what I'm planning to do is everything into bare metal, everything in epoxy primer. That is your best barrier against moisture. We don't want rust coming back. We're doing all this work. Let's not have rust come back. So after the epoxy primer, I will then go and do body work, because that's the reality. I'm not a metal finisher. I'm going to have to do body work. And so by body work, I mean body filler. A lot of people call it Bondo, but Bondo is a brand. So I'm just talking body filler. And so we're going to skim the panels, and we're going to have to do some sanding and some body work. And then once that's done, you may have some, as you're doing body work, you might sand down to bare metal again. Ideally, you would probably want to do the whole thing in epoxy again. I was doing it on the cheap, so I just got some 2K epoxy in a rattle can. Still 2K product, still epoxy, and I just went around and shot the bare metal spots. But I mean, ideally, in an ideal world, after you do your body work, you probably want to do more epoxy. I didn't, but I still shot it with the bare metal bits that went through with epoxy. And after you do that, then you're not even still yet ready for your base coat. You're going to be doing a high build primer. So this is where you really dial in everything. And if you didn't get something right with your filler work, this is where you can correct it. So you high build primer, and then you sand the whole thing all over again. And then after that point, you'll do sealer. Okay, this is what I did. Again, everyone's going to have a different process, but this is what worked for what I wanted. You'll do like a sealer coat, and then you'll get into your base coat. So I think for what I did, this was a lot of steps. for some people, that's like a lot of steps, and it felt like a lot of steps. And then for others who are professionals, they know that I've left out steps. But just that maybe will give you an idea of why I'm putting everything into bare metal. I want this car to last the ages now, because I've gone to bare metal now. I've treated every panel with rust converter, with OSFO. And so really, I'm feeling like this is going to give the very best foundation for a car that will last a very, very long time. So that's maybe just some insight into why I'm going to bare metal. If you want to know about the tools and things that I'm using, I do talk about them in some of my other paint stripping videos. I think I have 2 others. So you can check those out. But otherwise, I think this is probably the last paint stripping episode. And it did take a long time, and it was kind of the bane of my existence for for several weeks. But it was a necessary thing to do, and in the end, I think it was the right thing for me to do. So that's it for paint stripping. I hope to never do a paint stripping video ever again. Thanks.